Welcome to Career Atoms. This brief video will help if you're embarking on a job hunt process and want to understand the various search methods at your disposal. Because there's lots of differing opinions regarding the most and least effective methods, I'm going to highlight 5 tried and tested approaches in no particular order and suggest that it's sensible to adopt a multi-pronged effort rather than solely relying on just 1 or 2 methods. Incorporate all of these into your daily job search structure, but take a step back from time to time and evaluate what's proving to be most productive in order to adjust your schedule and fully maximise your time and effort. I'll start with one of the most obvious methods, and with the advent of the internet and search engines over the past 20 plus years or so, there's been a massive explosion in the use of job boards to advertise positions. The key positive elements of this approach are the hugely widespread use of advertising roles by so many employers and recruitment agencies, and the inherent ease with which you can quickly find and apply for a position, often within a mere matter of minutes. Employers know that by posting a role, they're guaranteed a large number of applicants, more often than not, resulting in a cost-effective method of successfully hiring someone. But whilst job boards work very well for employers, the key downside you face as a candidate is that you're competing head-on against so many others. Even prior to COVID-19, it wasn't at all uncommon for some jobs to receive literally hundreds of applicants within just a day or two of being advertised. So unless you're one of the earliest applicants or you're an absolute obvious standout match to the specified job requirements, it's very easy to be overlooked. In which case, don't be too disheartened if you're spending time firing off CVs to roles that look like a strong match, and yet it feels like they enter a black hole and you hear absolutely nothing. Recognise that there'll be a large number of similarly strong candidates applying for the same role, and so at the outset your chances of success are quite a bit slimmer than you might have assumed. There's also the distinct possibility that an advertised role isn't even live. It's unfortunately not completely uncommon that some more unscrupulous recruitment agencies post fake job adverts as a means to attracting new candidates to register with them. Plus, some roles will also have been filled already, but the advert hasn't yet been removed for one reason or another. Now, all of this doesn't mean that you should simply ignore this approach, because invariably it clearly works perfectly for the candidate that's selected. But I flag the issues so that you can have more realistic expectations and realise that just firing off a couple of generic CVs and then sitting back for a week or two and doing nothing more is likely to result in disappointment. To improve your chances, you have to be very active, checking daily for newly posted roles, being quick off the starting blocks, applying for a greater number of options, and crucially, ensuring that you tailor and optimise your CV for each position rather than just sending out the same generic one-size-fits-all version. We talk about effective CV tailoring in the second of the great CV videos, so do check that out if you haven't already. The Career Atoms website lists the more popular job boards, including the larger ones that serve all industry sectors and job disciplines, plus a few more specialist ones. It's a sound starting point, but it's not completely exhaustive as there's literally thousands of job boards. So begin with the more popular and well-known suggestions, but also do some simple Google searches to see if there's potentially others that could be worth a look. Some of them also allow you to post a copy of your CV to their own candidate database, the idea being that sometimes recruiters will undertake targeted searches in the hope of proactively finding someone suitable for a role. So it's another way of potentially getting yourself noticed, and it's worth considering. If you do opt to register your details and CV, keep in mind that you probably need to update and re-upload the CV with some degree of regularity, or you may end up not surfacing on searches if the recruiter specifies that they only want to see candidates that have registered more recently. But also be aware that if you're currently employed and don't want your employer to know you're actively looking for a change, there is an inherent risk that they could find out once you openly make your name and CV available for everyone to view online. There are some really great recruitment agencies and highly professional agency recruiters out there, just as there are also some pretty shoddy ones too. And it's not just down to size. Some of the best agencies I've collaborated with have literally had just 1 or 2 recruiters. Most permanent hire agencies charge anything from around 10 to 20% or even more of your basic starting salary, so it's an attractive and potentially lucrative model. If you do find and engage with a good agency recruiter, it can be a great method of job hunting because A, they can work hard on your behalf, briefing you thoroughly, holding your hand and steering you through the process, and acting as an intermediary with the employer, especially when it comes to negotiating salaries, if this is something you need support with. B, they can proactively approach you about suitable roles, often before they're even advertised, so you can sometimes beat the crowd. Some employers can really value agency recommendations, and it's not uncommon to see a good agency place the same person multiple times over their career, primarily because they've built a strong, trusted relationship. So it's definitely worthwhile registering with a few organisations and attempting to build a good rapport. Perhaps a mix of smaller, local agencies who will hopefully have their finger on the pulse when it comes to the local market knowledge and contacts, as well as some of the larger ones that may have teams of industry and sector discipline experts that operate exclusively on many roles. If you adopt this approach, again, just make sure that you make the effort to meet with the recruiters whenever possible and keep your name in the frame. They have many thousands of people on their books, so it's easy to be just a name on a database if you fire off your CV and do nothing more. Remember, the agency can only really sell you to their clients and work hard on your behalf if you've already made the effort to sell yourself to them and convince them that it's worth their time and effort. Check across your network of people on any specific agency recommendations and also assess which ones are currently advertising lots of roles in your geographic and job discipline area. Shortly, I'll be highlighting and profiling some of the better agencies on the Career Atoms website, so do check that regularly. This is a good method of job hunting, especially because it's well known that not all positions are advertised on job boards, and at times, even on a company's own website. Sometimes this is because of certain sensitivity reasons, other times it's because the employer doesn't need to advertise, perhaps because they have an in-house recruitment function or trusted external partner who maintain links with pools of really strong prospective candidates. Either way, you should definitely consider creating a list of potentially suitable and interesting employers, researching them and making unsolicited approaches regardless of whether you spot any suitable roles on their website. Often you can send them a CV and register on their database, but it's better to try and make direct contact with relevant individuals via LinkedIn and other sources. This could include line or departmental managers, HR leaders and in-house recruiters, etc. I'd reach out to a few pertinent individuals. Again, try to build a good rapport and ensure your name is in the frame should anything appropriate arise. Now, invariably with this more proactive method, you have to expect that lots of times you'll just get a thanks, but we're not currently hiring message back. But time and time again, it's been proven as an effective job hunting method because you're getting your CV directly in front of the decision makers. Even if they don't currently have anything suitable, I've known so many people who've been contacted at some point thereafter and approached about a new opportunity. In fact, when I once worked alongside an employer's internal recruitment function, there was a candidate I met and then kept in contact with for over 4 years before finally we had the optimum opening. He was in alternate employment at the time, so in no particular rush to secure something, but we'd be in touch every few months or so. Eventually I was able to approach him about a suitable role and he was hired. 2 promotions later, he became a highly effective and respected managing director and stayed with the company for over 7 years. And there's been countless other very positive personal experiences. Having directly supported a number of employers' HR functions over the years, I know firsthand that there's an increasing push within in-house recruitment functions to build and more effectively utilise talent pools for various job disciplines, essentially keeping track of strong candidates that are already interested in the company and hiring from within these pools wherever possible. Approaching employees directly is an effective method of job hunting and a great way to stand out from the crowd. Even the most ardent and thorough recruitment processes can't completely remove all risk, such that the highly polished and professional candidate who's interviewed and subsequently hired can very occasionally turn out to be a bit of a nightmare when they're in the job. So it's helpful when a hiring manager is afforded some additional insight on the candidate and a recommendation from someone that they know and trust. In an age where it's difficult to gain detailed, objective, warts and all references, referrals from trusted sources provide a potentially valuable window and insight into the individual, outside of a typical selection process. So the good news is that you can use this to your advantage by proactively approaching people in your network and soliciting their support, which could range from notifying you of any job openings they come across through to helping open doors with prospective employers and maybe even personally recommending you to hiring managers. And the beauty of the social business network LinkedIn is that it's not only about who you already know in your own network, it's also about who your contacts know as well, etc. A trusted recommendation can carry weight and potentially elevate you above others that are merely a name on a CV or an applicant tracking system. So thoroughly explore your entire network and make a lot of proactive approaches to people you already know, as well as finding new contacts that might help. Phone calls are obviously best where you already have contact numbers. If you don't and it's an email or message on LinkedIn, bear in mind that you don't need to write a very detailed, lengthy covering letters. Much snappier, concise messages like the ones we provided an example of on the job hunting discipline video are much better. Admittedly, this is a very proactive method that will take a lot of effort and it may push you well outside of your comfort zone if networking and asking for favours doesn't sit naturally with you. But it is generally considered one of the more effective methods of job hunting, so do give it a really good try. Finally, many recruiters spend lots of time conducting proactive candidate searches for their roles. So you want to do everything possible to help them easily find you and ensure you stand out from the crowd. Basically, you're going to stack the cards in your favour so that you can improve your chances of being headhunted. This is a great method of job hunting, and I've personally found, approached and subsequently hired a lot of people in this manner, so I know just how effective it is. And all you have to do is the upfront work I've already suggested you should be doing, including putting together a great CV and optimising your LinkedIn profile, and that's it. So there's little extra effort required if you're already thorough with these things to begin with. I briefly mentioned a few moments ago how you can add your CV to various job board databases, but the principal way that you can ensure strong visibility is via your LinkedIn profile. This has consistently been my primary and most effective tool for headhunting good candidates, and I know many other recruiters only use this tool. Now, that's not to say that you should necessarily expect to receive tons of recruiter contact immediately, because it's obviously dependent upon there being enough live roles that align with your skills and experience to begin with, plus it depends how optimised your profile is and whether it consistently appears high up in their relevant searches. But ultimately, alongside other methods that will take a lot of ongoing time and effort on your part, this is simply one of those things that could work for you, so you may as well maximise your chances. I'm not going to comment further on this right now, as I already cover it in great detail within the LinkedIn profile video in the Marketing Yourself section on the website, so please do review this. This now concludes the methods of job hunting video. Is there anything else you've tried that has worked really well? Please do get in touch if so, as we'd love to hear about it and share additional ideas. Thank you very much for watching.